we'll get started. We'd like to welcome Zalatoris into the virtual interview room here at the Corrales Puntacana Resort and Club Championship. Will, first of all, what a week it was for you at the U.S. Open, recording a hole-in-one, obviously en route to a T6 finish. Can you talk to us a little bit about the experience that you gained at Winged Foot?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get to compare yourself against the world's best, and obviously play well, it gives you a lot of confidence. So, Winged Foot was incredible. I mean, it was probably one of the hardest golf courses I think I've ever played, but at the same time, it was one of the most fair. Good shots were always rewarded, and if you got out of position, you're just trying to find a spot where you can just save bogey. I mean, basically hit a bad tee shot. It's just how easy is it to make five from certain spots, and if that's the case, then it's probably your best chance of making four too.
And now, what is the challenge for you as you prepare for this week at Corrales?
Yeah, I think just maintaining, my energy. Last week was a lot of fun, but at the same time, it was a little draining. I obviously, fun being in the last, hour and a half of tee times on Sunday and trying to grind out a high finish. And, this week it's the same thing. I mean, every single week, the end goal for this year before COVID was to get my tour card, and there's multiple avenues for me to do it, and I've pretty much locked it up for 2021, 2022, and just keep on plotting away. I say this a lot, that Josh Gregory, one of my coaches, he always says, before every round, just get better today, and that's just basically been our motto that ever since I've started working with him a couple of years ago. The task is always the same, no matter what tour or what event I'm playing in.
And I know we just had a little storm blow up here in the Dominican, and your 9-hole Pro-Am was cut a little bit short as of right now, but talk a little bit about this golf course and how it suits your game.
Yeah, it's wide. Basically off the tee, just hit it as far as you can, and just have to know on some holes just, where you can and can't be depending on pins. And, obviously in years past, the scores have been pretty low here. So, basically, I live in Texas, and I love playing in the wind. And so, the more wind, the tougher conditions, the better.
Speaking of Texas, it's well known that you and Tony Romo are pretty tight. He's a two-time sponsor exemption at this event. Have you picked his brain a little bit about what it's going to take this week?
Yeah, a little bit. A lot of times when we talk, it's mainly just about, kind of my career in general. It's not really specific to an event, but, he gave me a nice little pep talk after last week, and just said, just keep doing what you're doing, and the place is perfect for you.
And before we open it up to questions, Will, let's talk a little bit about your success on the Korn Ferry Tour, including a tour record 11 consecutive top 20 finishes on that tour, and how it has helped prepare you for the PGA Tour. Just an outstanding record you have over the last few months, obviously.
Yeah, thank you. The part that's been so fun about this year is I've done it, I've been very consistent, but I've played at that high level in different ways. Some weeks where my ball striking hasn't been that great, I've saved it with the putter, and other weeks, I've driven it perfectly and given myself a lot of opportunities to fire at some pins from the fairway. So, it really, I draw a lot of confidence out of what I've done this year, mainly just because, like I said, I've done it different ways. I mean, the scores obviously have been very consistent, but, obviously it doesn't feel that easy as the finishes may show. There've been some weeks where I've really grinded it out and turned, like San Antonio, where I was battling food poisoning the first day and played terrible, and birdied the second round to make the cut and turned it into a T5 finish. So that just in weeks like that where I can grind out a good finish when I don't have my best stuff really has given me a lot of confidence.
All right, well, thank you for that. We will open the floor up for questions, and we'll start with Sean Martin at PGAtour.com.
Hey, well, just curious, was there something you did during quarantine that led to this run of play that you've had?
Yeah, I played a lot. At the time, we were pretty fortunate in Texas that courses were able to be open, but our ranges were closed. So a lot of days of just kind of picking up my golf bag and, roll a few putts and go play. And, those days where I'm playing the, little games with Tony or Davis or Mike Baldwin, a friend of ours, and, obviously we've got a bunch of guys out on tour that live in Dallas. I didn't really feel like I had an off time. Playing against those guys every single day and having to give it my best, it kind of made me return to being a little kid again, where, go out and play golf and, the art of playing, I guess. A lot of guys, when they have off times, they're grinding out mechanics and whatnot, but, I basically just chipped and putted and went out and played.
The journey to arm lock putting, how long would you say that journey was to kind of find a method that you liked? When did you settle on that arm lock, and why did you kind of settle on that one? And was Webb Simpson an influence at all?
Yeah, a little bit. Troy Denton gave me his. He was my full swing coach. He gave me his arm lock that he had, and 2 weeks later I shot 59, and immediately back at home, and so I immediately knew that if I can roll it that well, I know I can compete against the best in the world, and I just need to stay patient. In terms of trying to find, when I was done tinkering with the actual putter, it probably took me 6 to 7 months to find the right weighting, the loft, setup. So it's been probably close to 2 years of doing it, but really after about 6 or 7 months of kind of tinkering with the actual putter, I haven't changed anything since.
So did you switch to something during quarantine then, as far as the putting?
No. So this was, this was probably about 2 years ago when I switched to arm lock. So it's been, I guess it was the fall of 18.
What did U.S. Open prove to you? Was there any surprise, and then do you feel any different coming out of that than you did going into Winged Foot?
Yeah, I can't say I'm not surprised with the T6 finish in the U.S. Open. I mean, I know I've had some success on every level so far in my career, but, obviously having that high of a finish and competing against the best in the world and finally doing it, it's one thing to tell yourself that you can do it, it's another actually doing it. And, I hit it incredibly well the first day, kind of grinded out that second day. I played pretty hard, and then the third and fourth round, I really didn't drive it well at all, but that final day I made a bunch of 20-footers, and so kind of what I was just telling John was, I've been consistent, but I've played well in different ways, and so to basically be blackout with my irons on Thursday and hit a bunch of shots from 160, 170 plus to a couple feet, and then going out and making a bunch of 20, 30 footers the last day to save par, maybe make a couple birdies. So that just kind of in general, that week really kind of summed up the year so far.
What was the most nervous moment at Winged Foot?
Probably just the first tee shot. The first couple holes just trying to find my rhythm, but after that, I had a great couple pairings on the weekend, and after basically Saturday and Sunday, it was just kind of keep doing what you're doing. I mean, obviously it was nice making that cut, but I was grinding it out, thinking that I needed to, maybe par in or maybe shoot one over to make the cut, and I ended up making it by 3 just with how tough the afternoon played. And next thing you know, I'm in the top 25, and I just kind of kept doing what I was doing. And obviously it was nice to, like I said, it's one thing to believe it, it's another when you actually do it.
Do you have a schedule for the fall?
Yeah, I'm actually got a sponsor's invite into Vegas. So next week we'll see what happens. I would have to top 10 to play, but obviously it was great to get into Vegas, give myself another opportunity, and we'll just see what else falls from there.
And you obviously know Scott Fossa well. How would you describe him, and what impacts he had on your career?
Yeah, I mean, I've known him since I was 9 years old. He's been a great friend. He's kind of been a big brother to me for a long time. He's been through the thick and thin with me. I mean, really in 2014, he caddied for me in the State Am, or Texas State Am, and we ended up winning. And basically that week he just said, I'm going to tell you where to hit it, and I'm going to tell you what club to hit. And I carried that throughout the rest of the summer. He caddied for me again, the U.S. Junior, and we won the U.S. Junior and put a nice little run together at the U.S. Am. So, he's been a great mentor. There's a lot of things with him that there's a lot of little nuggets of knowledge along the way that he's really given me that have helped. Especially, people think that when they come out with a new stat that, that's it. This is, how do you implement it into your practice and your play. But nonstop, he's been there for me for better part of probably 15 years.
And you described your play as well-rounded and kind of taking pride in that. When did you say your game became well-rounded, that you were able to, put together good scores in a variety of ways?
Yeah, I really think it was just really this year. Last year I got my card off of Monday qualifiers and a couple sponsors invites and strung together a couple top 25s on the Corn Ferry Tour. But, at the end of the season, I wasn't hitting it well, and I really didn't play my best golf. And so, I spent the off season just basically talking with Troy and Josh of just trying to understand my game better. How can I fix myself faster? Instead of something being off and it taking me 2 weeks to fix, how can I fix that in a shorter period? And I think knowing myself and knowing my habits and knowing how to offset them has been what's really kind of propelled me this year.
When did you start working with Troy?
About 2.5, 3 years ago.
Okay. That's it from me. So, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thanks, Sean. Well, we appreciate your time today. It was fun watching you last week, and we hope you have a fantastic week here in Punta Cana.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.